When the world gets weird and the bills get thick, you call on Clint and you feature Dick. One talks numbers, the other talks slick. Two dads, one mic, yeah, this could stick. Clint's crunching figures straight to the point. Dick's just here to laugh in the joint. It's the Clinterific Show, featuring Dick. Dick's quick with a joke, Clint's got the math. Together they'll balance your checkbook and your laugh. They'll talk finance, fun, and fatherly fails, with liquidity dreams and 401k tales. So grab your coffee, join us a ticket, the Clinterific Show, featuring Dick.
Fucking stupid.
You know, that's got to be one of the greatest strategies I've ever seen for turning a firing into a not firing. When you get let go from a job, like, no, you're not firing me. I'll see you tomorrow.
Right.
Which brings us to our show.
Yeah.
Welcome to our show. Welcome to the Clinterific Show featuring Dick. Episode number 17. And we're gonna do a fun one this week.
Oh no.
This week's topic, and this is a surprise for Mr. Dick over here. So this week's topic is gonna be, whoa, yeah, what is it good for? Investing opportunities. So yeah, we're gonna figure out how to use.
I did not see that coming.
We're gonna figure out how to use war as an investment opportunity, and then we're gonna go. We're gonna dive into our guessing
our YouTube careers.
Yeah, we're actually this week we're probably just gonna stick with career decisions that can make your career go in a better path, like. When somebody fires you, you just tell them no. No. You're not firing me.
No.
Yeah, I quit. Wait, no. This is why you don't want to do that. And then we're gonna dive into what were we? Oh yeah, why it's a punishment to take a vacation, and why it always feels like that. And maybe we can figure out some ways that it won't feel like that for you. So, yeah. So I don't know if,
awesome.
and actually just to briefly broach the subject of the McDonald's cheeseburger fiasco that, so I actually have seen dozens of different videos that were spoofs on this McDonald's commercial, but I don't know if anybody's familiar with Joey Salads. He made one as a spoof for Arby's, which was
oh my gosh,
CEO fucks roast beef sandwich. And so like the whole intro for this video is him just opening up this burger and just like molesting this roast beef sandwich. And it was, I could not stop laughing. I was like, that is so funny. So if you haven't seen that and you get a chance, go check out Joey Salad's spoof on the McDonald's commercial because it is prime entertainment. Incredibly hilarious.
I told you my story about Arby's, right? Didn't I tell you my story about why I hate Arby's?
A story about Arby's. I'm having a hard time remembering what it was.
This is where my mom made us all go for like 8 weeks straight.
Yes, and you got so sick of it you never wanted to eat there again. Yes, I remember that now.
The smell of it turns my stomach. I ain't watching this video. No way.
Maybe it'll make you want some again.
Ain't nothing gonna make me want those roast beefs.
I think that one had some extra horsey sauce on it. But the reality is, I would be willing to bet that McDonald's has seen such an enormous jump in burger sales just from that ad campaign
Well,
because
dude,
people were
both
talking.
went and got it.
I mean, we did. Yeah, there was not a chance in hell that I was going to go get that burger until it turned into us making a spoof about it. You know.
It's like they say, there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yep. He definitively
So-
proved that. And if he was the one that came up with that, he is a literal marketing genius.
Oh yeah. I'm sure he did. I'm sure he said, "Hey, let's make
Yeah.
a ad where I
enough.
act so incredibly freaking cringe and awkward that everyone makes fun of it, because that's really going to drive sales."
Oh yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't be wrong,
Oh,
obviously, because it worked. But try selling that one in the room.
Yeah. That would have been pretty comical. But
It would have been pretty comical.
But yeah. So this week we're gonna give you some the top 5 tips for investing strategies during wartime.
We are officially not at war. It is a military act.
This has absolutely nothing to do with the state of the country. This is just
this
on
is
the off
just
chance that you want to
coincidental.
invest.
You could be watching this at any time point
Yes.
in the
Yes.
future
Yeah, exactly.
or present. I guess if
Listen.
you're watching this, it's in your present. But
Yeah. Donald Trump
has
is going to watch
nothing to
this and
do.
he's going to say, "That's a great tip," and he's going to do it, and he's going to make dozens of dollars.
I mean, I'd be shoot if I make dozens of dollars off this video, I'd be happy. Please
So-
monetize this, YouTube.
Which brings us to our sponsor, the S&P 500. Thanks for being the S&P 500.
Do.
So, tip number 1.
At 10.
And I want you to tell me if any of these are surprising, because I know that you're just recently getting at least into the investing mindset in any capacity in the last few years, and
We'll call it that. Yeah.
I want you to tell me if you I write down something, one or two ideas, and see if you can guess what these would be, because I think for
Cash
me
under
some
my
of
mattress
these,
count
pardon?
as investing. Does cash under my mattress count as investing?
I mean, no.
Shit.
I mean, if it's cash that was invested in like gold, then maybe you could count that as an investing strategy. But not just
Punch
like
out a homeless guy
wad
and
of
took his gold
cash.
tooth.
You had a homeless guy do what to your tooth?
This is like a game of telephone. I said I punched out a homeless guy and took his gold tooth, but it would have been funnier if we had kept on going the way you were going.
Wow. Okay.
Did you have a homeless guy do with your tooth?
Speaking of investing strategies,
Sorry.
time is money.
Yes, go on.
So, tip number 1.
Right.
Do not panic sell. Volatility is usually temporary. And one of the biggest things that happens when wars and rumors of wars break out is everybody panic sells. And the market goes,
Yeah.
because everybody's trying to get rid of all their investments.
Nice
They
job.
don't want to be left holding the bag. But the problem is if you dump all of your stocks and the market goes back up and you buy back in, you just hosed yourself because you're buying at a higher price than when you acquired it originally.
Man, I got no problem holding on to my bag.
The S&P 500 has gone through multiple wars and still produced very strong results over the last,
It's still there.
60, 70 plus years.
How did it survive?
Yeah. So your strategy needs to be stay invested and don't do emotional trading. And remember that the market prices typically are worse. Wait, sorry. Remember, the market typically prices the worst news early.
So it's not going to get worse necessarily.
Right. So, like, bad news means bad market correction faster than good news means good market correction. Typically.
Right.
Not always, but typically. So, don't let fear rule you. It's like the Jedi always say, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering, and suffering leads to poor investment returns.
I'm pretty sure Yoda said that in one of the prequel trilogies.
And then he realized that after Luke
if only Disney would have listened for the sequel trilogy.
Ain't that the truth? But, I mean, they've made something off of it. That's my lightsaber. You can't really see it because it's behind that bar, but
you're just holding your hand up in the middle of nothing.
It's product placement. Yeah.
See this thing I have here? No, listen, me either.
You know, that is one of the memes that I get the most joy out of recently, is the scene where Luke continues to ask Yoda so many questions. And Luke is just, Yoda is just like, and just chooses to die rather than answer any more questions. That's so relatable as a father,
as a parent. Yeah, absolutely relatable. It's one of the most relatable things about that relatable stuff.
And the setting the lightsabers to stun. Not to kill.
They can do that?
I mean, I don't know.
I had no idea.
The Klingons sure could. Anyway, rule number 2. Lean towards the defensive sectors of the investment portfolio. Some industries hold up better because demand doesn't disappear during war. So, for example, utilities. Everybody's got to have the lights on, even during war. Everybody's got to have water. Healthcare. And consumer staples. So, think food,
Toilet paper.
Yes, things that, you need it on a regular basis to survive.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what the geopolitical world is doing. People are going to have electricity and medicine and food and clean water.
And toilet paper.
And toilet paper. I mean, listen, it's like the old song always says, stranded on a toilet bowl. To prove you're a man, you've got to use your hand. Stranded on a toilet bowl.
Even the Romans weren't that barbaric. Come on.
Yeah, they used the poop stick.
They used sponges.
Yeah,
sponges.
The poop sponge stick. Listen,
sponge on a stick poop.
I saw this video the other day that was talking about like, oh yeah, I could be so successful if I went back in time, and I could do this and I could do that, and I could survive in the wilderness of the Americas. And I thought about it. One of the things that a lot of people don't take into consideration is the smell. I don't think I, as a human, could go back to medieval times and be like, yeah, you know what? I'm okay with this smell. Because I know how bad I, as an individual, stink just with one day without a shower. And I know that my nose has evolved to the extent of being able to handle smells that I deal with on a regular basis. I don't
Yeah.
think I could handle being in medieval times and and having those smells around me. And the problem is even for me more, I'm a super taster. So like beyond the smells is also just flavors. Flavors in the general air. Just yeah, no. I would not be okay. So yeah,
Well,
anyway.
I wonder though, like, so wait, hang on a second though. Like, I feel like it, we have this view of like what in the Middle Ages, like what that time period was
Uh-huh.
like, and I wonder if it really was as primitive as, a lot of people tend to believe. Like maybe hygiene wasn't as bad as we think it was. I mean, I'm sure in some places it was, but there are some
Yeah.
places today where it's really bad.
You know,
So I
I
don't
I
know.
have this thought in the back of my head that
It's a preconception.
like when we get to heaven that we're gonna have like a uh, the world's most advanced what do you call those old recording things that you would like record your TV show TiVo, yeah, like the world's most advanced TiVo, and you can go back and watch things that were happening in history and see what things were really like. I keep thinking that there's going to be something like that, and like it would not surprise me in any capacity if that really is what it was. You go back to the medieval times, and they actually had batteries and advanced medicine and antibiotics and all this other stuff,
Well,
and they just called it the Dark Ages because
the ancient Egyptians had batteries.
everything got yeah, well, exactly, and so like they everything got destroyed because they got too advanced, and we were told it was the Dark Ages because they didn't want us to know what happened. you know,
Well,
I think Star Wars is actually the chronicles of the world in the Dark Ages.
interesting. Well, then where's my frickin' lightsaber?
Well, see, they all got destroyed when the Death Star blew up.
Oh, all of them?
Most of them, except for the one that I've got right there. But mine's
That one's fake.
well, of course, yeah. It's fake.
It's like a wooden sword, bro.
You know what? Wooden swords can still do damage.
I mean, you're not wrong. Where are
Trust
we
me.
on your list, by the way?
We're on number 3. Speaking of segues,
Did you hear
number
the one
3.
about the guy, the founder of Segway?
I did.
Have you heard about
I did.
that?
I heard that one a few weeks ago.
Like when I mentioned it
Yes,
last?
when you mentioned it last. So, number 3.
How he fell off a
watch,
cliff on a Segway?
Watch the war beneficiaries. Say
Interesting.
what?
Explain.
Certain sectors historically gain when military spending rises. For example, companies like Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman are industries that are in energy and commodities and defense contractors. So, investing in entities like those means that
Like Raytheon.
what?
Like Raytheon. Or General Dynamics.
Sure. Or that what was that company called in The Wolf of Wall Street? Aerotine has massive
Aerotine.
radio wave technology implications and huge military applications, and yeah, Aerotine.
Wait, is this a real thing?
I have no idea. I don't even know if it's a real company, but it was the company that was pitched in The Wolf of Wall Street. So
Gotcha.
yeah, excuse me. Wars frequently increase government spending and resource demand, which can push these sectors higher.
Gotcha.
So, now we're moving on to number 4. Keep a portion in safe haven assets. Safe haven assets? What does that mean?
What is that? Oh, sorry. I missed my cue.
When
Hey, Clint, what's a safe haven asset?
Dick, I'll tell you. When global risks increase, investors often move towards assets viewed as stable, like gold or U.S. Treasury bonds that were issued by the U.S. Department of the Treasury. The strategy
Is this
is,
turning into a commercial for war bonds?
speaking of our next
last
sponsor,
I checked,
the U.S. government. Buy bonds here. They're giving you a historically high 2.35% interest.
wowza.
Exactly. Hold a small allocation of assets, roughly 5 to 15% in assets that historically perform well during a crisis. They reduce overall portfolio volatility. In simple words, it makes it do less of this and more of this.
Gotcha. So still up and down, just not extreme up and down.
And for those of you listening, because this is a podcast and you can't see my hand, it makes it go less drastically up and down like a roller coaster and more like you're riding on the waves of a river or a small creek.
Oh man, I've been on some pretty intense rivers. Just saying. A lazy
on.
river. Like a lazy river.
Oh yes,
Nope.
yes, yep. The last one that I went to, I did not so much have problems with the river itself, but more so with what the river was mashing into me. Man, she's got to eat less cheeseburgers. Put down the fork. Anyway, number 5.
Talking about your sister again? Anyway, number 5.
Keep cash ready
I'm just kidding, Lindsay.
for market overreactions. War headlines
Keep cash ready
often
for market overreactions. Okay.
Yes, war headlines often cause temporary market sell-offs. So what this does is it creates opportunities to buy strong companies at small or largely discounted prices. So the strategy essentially is to maintain some liquidity and watch for quality companies dropping 20 to 30% due to panic rather than fundamentals. Fear creates volatility, and volatility creates opportunity.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Yep.
So fear doesn't lead to the dark side.
Yep. So we will recap, and I will give you each of these points again. So you've got don't panic sell because volatility is usually temporary. Lean towards defensive sectors of the market. Watch for war beneficiaries, aka companies that benefit from war contracts. Keep a portion in safe haven assets and keep cash ready for market overreactions. So war creates uncertainty, but markets have survived every global conflict in modern history. The investors who stay calm, stay diversified, and buy when others panic usually come out ahead. So just kind of keep that in mind. There's probably going to be some opportunities in the near and far future because I feel like we hear that there's a new war breaking out every other day anymore.
There's another one?
Yeah. I filled up my gas.
I missed the call sheet on that one. Shit.
Yeah. No, I filled up my gas tank. I believe it was last Wednesday for $2.19 a gallon. And the next day, it was $2.99 a gallon. It's ridiculous. Like, that's just such an enormous uptick in gas prices.
Wait, when was this again?
I think it was last Thursday.
Hmm.
I think I filled up on Wednesday and it went up on Thursday. But I could be wrong on that. It may have been Tuesday.
Was that, yeah, it probably has something to do with the, that country that went running, and their declarations.
Yes. Mongolia.
Right, that's the one I was thinking.
You know, listen,
Beautiful place.
Terrible. I went into accounting for a reason. I am terrible at geology.
And it shows.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, that brings us to our next topic. Ideas for how to make your career last way longer than it should. We were talking about earlier today how somebody got fired from their job, and their response to getting fired from their job was,
"Oh no, it wasn't me."
No.
It was no.
Which is such an amazingly hilarious little concept, because to be perfectly honest, as somebody who does employ people and somebody who's worked for businesses and quit a job before, I don't know how that would come across to me. Like, if I said, I'm going to fire you, or you're fired, and they said, no, I'll see you tomorrow, I don't know how that I would react to that, because that is such a strange, out of the norm response to a situation like that. And you don't typically expect there to be you can't, no, you're just not firing me. Like, there's it's in every movie that's ever had somebody get fired. Well, you can't fire me, I quit, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. And something.
Yeah, it's not really how it works.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, when your supervisor calls you and says, "Hey, you're fired," like, you going, "No, I quit."
Security shows.
Like, that actually is worse for you, because, like, you could be entitled to severance if you're fired, but not if you quit.
Well, exactly. And that's one of the things that I've always found fascinating is this, well, you can't fire me, I quit thing that happens in movies all the time. Because
yeah, it's an emotional response.
Right, it is. It's 100% emotional. And the reality is I believe, at least in most situations, that if you're let go, you are if you're fired without cause, so to speak, because there's a lot of states that have at will hiring laws and firing laws, essentially. So if they decide they want to fire you, they don't really have to have cause. They can fire you regardless. And so if that is the case, if you get fired, you are at the very minimum entitled to unemployment for, I believe it's like 18 months.
Bro, the last couple times that I was without a job, it was more work to try and get unemployment.
Oh yeah, no,
than
it
to
is.
just
It
go
is
get another flipping job.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. Dealing with the Social Security Administration and the unemployment office and all this other stuff. Like, there's people that like the reason that they do it the way they do it is because it takes so much time to get money out of these organizations that it's ridiculous. Right. So yeah, I totally understand that.
Right.
But
yeah, don't even try to sign up for that. I mean, it's so tedious, and it's like you have to spend so much time filling out forms and all this nonsense that you could be spending that time
just finding
another job.
Yeah.
Because finding a job is a full-time job.
Yeah,
by itself. And then you got to do all this government nonsense on top. No, thank you.
Yeah. I was actually going to look at that.
Me.
So, if you're making I think the average salary is like $65,000 a year or something like that right now. So
Really? That's average?
I think
That's
so.
average.
Yeah,
That is average.
yeah, I think so.
$65,000 a year is average. Hang on a second. All right, Google. I know you've never steered me wrong before because your motto is do no evil.
So the median household income
What what's
is
median?
$83,730 per year, but that's household.
Well, but what is defined as a household?
So median means half of households earn more, half earns less. Average household income is 120 to 121,000 per year. There's a lot. So basically that means they're averaging in a given household, the average amount of income is going to be 120,000. Now, the median individual worker's income is roughly 62,000 per year.
I'm looking at the Social Security Administration's website here, and it's telling me that the national average wage index for 2024 was 69,000 giggity $846.57.
Okay, so I'll use that one. 69,500.
Giggity.
Okay. So, 69,500 comes out to 1,300 and some change per week. Now, after you've got all of your benefits and things like that taken out of that, let's say that you're at 35% of your wages are going towards tax, state, federal, Social Security, Medicare, unemployment insurance for state and federal. You've got your health insurance, all that stuff. So that means that you're going to be left with $868 a week, approximately, after tax. So you're looking at roughly $3,475 a month that you're depositing into your bank account at the average income according to the Social Security Administration. The crazy part with that, I don't know how people are living if that is the truth, which I realize that the cost of living is not the same from a standard across the United States,
right,
because the statistics are obviously being skewed by states that have higher wages and higher rent, but
incredibly skewed because it's like I'm just looking just right now. I'm looking at my state's average annual salary or wage or whatever, and it's 60,000. So that's 9,000 below the national average in my state.
Yeah.
In New Jersey, it's 76,000.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of disparity there, and I'm looking at this, and I'm at this. Yeah, I bet you can't guess where the highest salaries are.
I'm gonna be able to go
All
on
right,
a
all right,
very
hang on.
easy limb.
Hang on a second.
Okay.
Hang on a second. Okay, so I just pulled up an article online from Forbes, average
Okay.
salary by state. This was published on the 30th of January, 2026. Okay, Clint, you said that you live in Arkansas.
Yes.
Your state is ranked 49th for the lowest salary.
Which, what's interesting about that is actually that those numbers are so far skewed. We would be at 50th if it was not for the fact that Northwest Arkansas has so many enormous corporations in it. Because Northwest Arkansas has Walmart, it has Tyson, which is the biggest food conglomerate in the United States. And then it also has, well, I don't know if technically Amazon falls under that umbrella, but Tyson is the biggest food supplier. And then JB Hunt, which is the largest, I believe, logistics company that does contract transportation, all within, a 30-minute drive of each other.
Right.
So
All right.
enormous amounts of money
guess?
in that area are skewing these statistics. Yeah. Because if you go to any of these other cities, it's crazy how much cost of living difference there is.
All right. So you want to guess which state has the highest average salaries?
I'm going to say it's either California or Texas.
Texas is 24th.
Really? Interesting.
According to this, yes. California is only 4th.
Wait, so this is highest
with an
average
salary? Yes, highest average. California is 4th with $79,900.
Yeah, I can see. I can
year.
understand that. So, because the reality is California has skewed statistics just like Arkansas does, because there's so many people that live there. If you're living in the big city, you're making the wages go higher. But if you're living out in the rural areas, cost of living's cheaper. Is it? Yeah. Is it? Man, is it East Coast?
It is East Coast.
Well, I don't think it would be New York State. I'm going to guess it's one of the smaller states. So, what about New Jersey?
No. New Jersey is ranked 5th, actually.
Really? Okay. Massachusetts, maybe?
Massachusetts is number 1 with $83,050 a year.
Really, it is Massachusetts. Yeah. Okay. So they're obviously skewed because they're a small state. Most of the states in bigger cities, there's more people that live on the East Coast, stuff like that. So yeah, okay, I can understand that. I'm kind of surprised that Texas is as low as it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
just because of the sheer number of huge cities in Texas.
All right, so according to this, whatever, I'm not sure where they get their data, but this is Forbes. Massachusetts is 1st, followed by Washington, and then New York.
Interesting.
And then California. And then, let's see, where is 5th? I'm trying to find the 5th one. Or did I say it was New Jersey? Yeah, it's New Jersey. So your bottom of the barrel is Mississippi at 50th.
Okay.
With
interesting.
An average annual salary of $49,000 and $49,740. And then Arkansas at 49. West Virginia at 48 and Oklahoma at 47.
Wow. Interesting.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So I don't even make the national average, and I'm like, what the heck? Like,
you're getting there, Ricky.
I'm feeling kind of gypped now.
It's okay, Ricky. You're getting there. I believe in you. But no, seriously, like, so one of the reasons why I was kind of...
believe me too.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I was wanting to talk about that. So hourly wages, like if you broke that down to an hourly, there's approximately 2,080 hours in a given calendar year. Obviously, it's going to adjust, depending on how...
Are you talking about work hours?
Yes, working hours. 40 hours a week, 52 hours, or 52 weeks a year is 2,080 hours. Okay, so at the $69,500 salary, that comes out to $33.41 an hour. So you get let go and you're at $0 an hour. Okay. Well,
Been
I don't know what it is in most
there.
places, but I know that if I got, if my business goes belly up tomorrow and I am just desperate to get any of my bills covered while I'm trying to figure something else out from a compensation perspective, and I just had to take a job, I know that I could go get a job paying at least $18 an hour tomorrow.
Yep.
And I mean that would be literally not even giving them a resume, and there's no way I could not get a job making $18 an hour.
Where would you be getting this job?
I think pretty much any fast food place in where I live is paying between $15 and $18 an hour.
Oh, are they accepting applications that don't have prior experience? I couldn't get a job at Target 1 year because I had to have prior experience. Target.
Who the
hell do they think they are?
So I got passed over for a job at Best Buy because it was actually for a loss prevention analyst or something like that. I mean, it was a fancy title for somebody who went around and made sure that the inventory was actually in the store. But yeah, it was kind of hilarious because I did not get the job. I didn't even get an interview for the job because when I filled out the thing, that it said that I was basically it sounded like I was too honest. Like I answered in too extreme, because like the questions they ask are like, do you strongly disagree, neutral, strongly agree, or strong, or so on and so forth. And it said that I answered in too many extremes. And I was like, if you wanted a loss prevention specialist, like this is your guy. Like when I was in elementary school, I think I was in like first or second grade, they were doing a experiment to see which kids would which kids would lie and which ones wouldn't. They put us in a room full. They had they gave us a jar of, it was either jelly beans or M&Ms, and they said, okay, we want you to count how many M&Ms are in here. And I think they had like every kid in my class do it. And they just said, yeah, just dump them all out on the counter, count how many there are, and we'll come back and you can tell us how many are in there. And of course, they're in there, like they're paying attention and watching the whole time, but they're kind of out of the room, so we all didn't know that we were being observed in any capacity. And so anyway, I think there was like 20 or 30 other kids that did this. And I was the only one who not only got the number right, but didn't eat a single M&M.
Oh man, I'd have been putting them in like hand over fist and they'd be like, there's 12.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they said, because they knew how many was in there, and they said that every single kid except me ate some of the M&Ms while they were counting them.
I mean, I might have counted all of them accurately and then just been like, yeah, there was this many, but I ate about 10.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's not that many in there anymore.
Yeah, so it was just comical that, like, Best Buy's like, yeah, you're too honest or whatever. You're too strict in your belief system. Like, you want somebody to make sure your inventory's there, I'll do it. And I'll make sure it's right.
Obviously, that's not what they wanted.
Yeah. But
who knows what they actually wanted?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so let's say that they didn't require previous experience for me to go work at McDonald's or Taco Bell or something like that. Then that salary comes out to $37,440 an hour. I mean, a year.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, it's one of those things, like, from a perspective of getting let go and just not knowing what to do, I can guarantee you $37,440 is going to be more than you're going to get from unemployment. Guaranteed.
It's also more than zero.
That's true. Yep. So
Quite a bit more, actually.
yeah. So if strategy number one, which is no, doesn't work, then let's go with option number two and see if we can't just land another job. But at the very minimum, it's like, okay, yeah, I go work that job, and then in the meantime, I try to find something that's more along with what I'm actually wanting to do. There's nothing wrong with that. You got to pay your bills.
Got to pay them bills. Them bills ain't gonna pay themselves.
Exactly. Anyway, so yeah, that's our tips for your career if you ever get fired. I mean, listen,
Just
throw
say
a curveball
no.
and say no. You're not gonna. Listen, if
What have you got to lose?
yeah, exactly. Like, what are they gonna do? Fire you? And
I mean, if it were me, I'd call the police and be like, "Get this nut job out of my building."
So, the office is supposed to be a mirror of our lives from an office working perspective. So,
You're talking about the TV show, The Office?
Yes. I don't know if you've ever.
Okay.
Have you ever watched The Office?
I did. I watched several seasons of it, and then it got to a point where I couldn't stand Michael anymore.
So you need to go back and watch it
and-
now that you work in an office
and now-
setting, because it gives
well,
you
the
a whole
problem
new
is-
appreciation for it. I hated that show
Yeah.
until I got my first job, and then I was like,
Dude,
wait a minute,
yes,
okay,
it makes-
yeah.
I was in college when I watched it. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
And now that I've worked in like the adult world,
Exactly.
like, I'm like, oh
Yep.
my gosh, like this show.
But it was.
I
I
see
think-
clips of it, and I'm like,
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah. So at the end of, I think it's towards the end of season 2, or maybe halfway through season 2, Michael has to figure out somebody to fire, and so he tells Creed that he's going to fire him, one of the older guys, and Creed's
Creed.
no, you don't want to fire me. Fire somebody else. Fire Devin. Devin is terrible. And he's like, no, I don't want to fire Devin. I just fired you. And he somehow convinces, Creed somehow convinces Michael not only to not fire him, but to fire somebody else. So, and I think it was really just the curveball, like the confidence to be like, no, you really don't want to fire me. Just fire somebody else, or just don't fire anybody, and we'll go from there. And worst case scenario, they fire you anyway. But sometimes the curveballs work the best, So,
Oh my gosh,
yeah. So,
dude, yeah.
So,
absolutely.
So yeah, just a few little off the wall tips for you if you ever find yourself in a predicament where you're getting fired. Tell them no.
Just so no.
Yeah. No is a
So
complete
dumb.
sentence.
No is a complete sentence.
And just say no and then go back to your desk and start working again. It may confuse
has a
them enough
subject
that their brain has to, figure things out again.
Well,
So, speaking of figuring
Okay.
things out, that brings us to our final topic of the week. I mean, well, yeah, of the week and or episode, going deep with Dick.
super deep today.
Oh,
What was it we were going to talk about?
we are gonna talk about. What were we gonna talk about?
I already forgot. I did, dude. Wow. This is 40.
It was a good one too.
I honestly don't remember now.
I had something else, and we talked about one thing, but this is kind of something else. This is kind of an issue that I've had as a father.
You should get that checked out.
No, not that kind of issue.
Oh, my bad.
And honestly, I would like to get your opinion on this, because I don't know if we've ever really talked about this. So,
Shoot.
because you've got a son, Your son
I
is
do
what,
have a
10?
son.
10?
9. He's
9.
9.
Okay. So my son is going to be 6 in June. Um,
Yeah.
we have him signed up
Yeah.
for soccer and t-ball this year.
Sure. Yeah.
So, as we're, tonight was the first practice they have for t-ball, and he did it back in October, so this is not his first time playing or anything like that.
Right.
But as we're, we drop him off and get him ready, and we go over to the bleachers to sit down. We're just watching him play, and one of the other parents is actually a friend of ours that we've gotten pretty familiar with over the last few years. Their daughter was going to school with my niece, so we met through that, and just have kind of gotten to know each other at birthday parties and stuff like that. So anyway, long story short, she's telling us about this experience that she's had at the school that she's got her kids in. Private school, Christian school. She's talking about this experience where she's got a son around the exact same age as my son. I think she said he's like 2 months younger. So 5-6 years old. He is getting in trouble at this school, and this is a school that we had our son at as well. Getting in trouble for being a boy, essentially.
Sure.
Getting into tussles and arguments, and being physical with his classmates and stuff like that. And they've had the parents into the principal's office multiple times. They're getting to a point now where they're threatening, or at least getting to a point of expelling the kids or the kid. And it's like, okay, what in the world is going on here? This is a 5-year-old kid, and we had exactly the same issue. He would get in trouble for fighting or hitting or whatever else, which I'm not condoning in any capacity. But if you go back and review the tapes, because this is one of those schools that has security cameras everywhere, he was not the only one doing it. He was just the only one being caught because the teachers were too busy goofing around on their phones to pay attention to what was leading up to the issues. And so he's the only one getting in trouble, even though he's not the only one doing the hitting and the fighting and the, all the other stuff. And so the long and short of it, we just, obviously we're having this conversation, and we find out that we're not the only parent that's had this issue. And I'm be willing to bet that there's a lot of parents out there that are having this issue, especially when you're trying to get your kids in, some kind of private school education. Because these private schools have gotten to the point where I'm trying to be careful about how I say this, because I don't believe that all schools are doing the same thing, and they don't care about, children's education or young boys' education or anything like that. But there seems to be a pattern that's evolving, because the reality is young boys are not cookie cutter, stereotypical best student material. They're going to run around, they're going to run and play and bump into things, and that's how little boys play. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But it's almost like society is making this shift that, what we have been referring to as toxic masculinity for adult men is now being passed on to toxic masculinity in young men, and now in little boys. And like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to feel bad for the fact that a child is being a child. There's no difference for me being upset at my son for hitting as it is for getting upset at my daughter for screaming or squealing. That's what they do. Now, they're supposed to be learning how to not do that. They're supposed to be learning how to control their bodies and
right.
not hit and be, violent and stuff like that. 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not
Right.
condoning physical violence in any capacity, but there has to be a line of these are kids that we're trying to educate. And you should be able to bring your kid to our school and we'll help in that endeavor.
Right.
So it's
it's really frustrating. And I get what you're saying because like my son's for the most part he's calmer. Like he's not as rowdy. I mean, he has his moments, right?
Yeah.
But I hear stories about other kids in his class. Oh, so and so, like all the time, and I'm like, oh yeah, he sounds like a boy. He sounds like a middle child boy, just being a middle child.
Yeah,
boy.
exactly.
And he's just such a behavior problem. There's a couple of things I think that that make it difficult, particularly for young boys in modern education. The first and foremost, I think, is that we have this idea that kids need to start at a certain age. And I'll be real. I'll keep it 100 right now. I started school what it was considered late.
Yep.
I did
did
not
too.
start kindergarten until I was 7 years old, and a lot of people are like, "Holy crap, that's so old." But you know what happened? I didn't get in trouble. I was able to control myself. I had good grades all
That
through
year and a
school.
half makes an enormous difference.
It makes a huge difference. And
Yep.
so when
Yep.
you put a kid who just is barely now under control of their own bladder and bowels
Yeah.
into a classroom
Yeah.
with a whole bunch of other kids that have just learned the same, like it's going to be tough. It's going to be rough. And
Yep.
I honestly think that as education, here comes my second point, as education has changed over the years, we have put so much emphasis and focus on like more rigorous academic learning at a younger age, that kids aren't getting the same like all around learning experience like you and I
Right.
did growing
Yeah.
up, where we spent more time playing and
Yep.
we spent more time, like I was taught how to tie my shoes in kindergarten. Now it's like, well, if you don't come knowing how to tie your shoes in kindergarten, we ain't gonna
Yeah.
freaking
What are
teach
you
you.
What are you doing here? Yeah. That was one of the problems that they had with Lincoln, and the teachers called us in for his first parent teacher conference, and they're like, "Yeah, he doesn't know how to cut with scissors," and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? This is
Yeah.
pre-K. He's 4."
Yeah. Yeah, he probably doesn't even have the dexterity for that yet.
It-
Like hardly the dexterity for that.
Even if he did, like, I'm just like, you're expecting them to come to your school already educated, and that's just insane.
Yeah, well,
And the thing that was even funnier is they gave him these worksheets to where they would have him like draw a picture or color in the circles or fill in whatever. And I mean, I'm not one of those people who wants to tote on how incredibly intelligent my son is. You've met him. The child has incredible abilities for considering how old he is. I mean, he reads at a 3rd and 4th grade level. He can do algebra. And he's not even 6 years. He will be 6 in June. So, but he's been doing. He knows every single one of his multiplication tables and add and subtract and all that stuff, and he's known it since he was 5 years old, like the day he turned 5. And so So anyway, the teachers would give him these worksheets. They gave him the first one, and he finished it, and then they gave him another one. Well, he was smart enough to figure out the pattern, which is if I do all of my worksheet, they're going to make me do another one. I don't want to be doing this. I want to go play. So he got 95% of the way done with the rest of them that they gave him that. And then he just started scribbling all over all of them. Because he wanted to get up and play. Because he was done with his work. And they were like, well, yeah, he just doesn't want to keep doing work. And I was like, who does? Like, what adult does?
Shit. No shit. Oh, man, I'm done with all this work you gave me.
Yeah.
Can I have more?
Yeah, exactly. You know, speaking of career problems, and that's one of those things. It's like, okay, from an education perspective, it's very clear to me that this model was built around forcing, especially young men, but even young women, to remove all creativity and just turn into essentially a drone that's going to sit there and do their work for the allotted time. And that's what their job is, you know? And so that's one of the biggest problems that, you know, that we're having. And that was why I kind of wanted to get your, because, you know, obviously from an educator's perspective and even from, you know, from your wife's perspective as well, because she's a principal, and so, you know, there's a lot of different things coming into play from an educator's perspective. And I totally understand that and appreciate it, but I'm trying to understand why it feels like it's getting to a point where these parents are being forced out of a school. Or these kids are being forced out of a school by no fault of their own because they're children, and they're being held to a standard that it's not reasonable for them to be held at that standard at that age. Yeah. I just can't imagine a world where I'm having a conversation I'm trying to put myself in a teacher or a parent's perspective, where I'm having a conversation with a child's parents after 2 weeks of them starting a pre-K school, and I'm talking about expelling their child.
I mean, if they were insanely violent and threatening to other students and teachers,
I'm not talking.
I could see that.
Right, obviously.
But
if Lincoln had gone to the school and stabbed somebody, yeah, we got real problems that we need to take care of, and obviously he does not need to be going to that school. I'm not talking about that.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like I we could go down the whole war against boys thing, and how schools treat boys as defective girls, etc. And because there's, I haven't read that book, but I've seen enough YouTube videos about it, obviously.
Yeah.
So I'm an expert in the matter.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is even if it's not entirely true, there's enough truth in there that people resonate with this idea.
Right.
It's like our boys were doing that. Like when I was a kid, we weren't allowed to play tackle football at school. We had to play two-hand touch.
Yep.
But you better believe we went over to so-and-so's house for his birthday party. What were we doing?
Playing
we were
tackle
running
football.
Head first into each other as fast as running as hard as we could.
Yeah.
That was what we did.
Yeah.
We would have gotten in trouble for that at our school because, whatever, insurance or violence.
Yeah. Yeah. Which that's the thing.
That's
it's not
understandable,
violence.
and that's right. That's understandable and that's reasonable. And this is where I'm saying, like, the two of the biggest things. One being, I don't remember what the other one was. For me, one of the biggest things for boys is age appropriate. We send them way too early because they don't know how to self-manage enough yet at 5.
Yeah.
I was much better able to do that at 7.
6 is when they're figuring it out, and 7 is when they've gotten reasonably good at it for the most part.
And I think part of the problem there's two problems. One, I think there's too much of this idea ingrained in our culture that you have to start school at a certain age or you're stupid,
Yeah.
you know, which is not obviously it's not true and it's stupid.
Well, I mean, that's one
The
of the
other
things
problem
that,
is like my mom stayed home,
yeah, we
so
don't have that option anymore.
no one, hardly anyone does anymore, and that's part of the problem. Like my wife and I were blessed that she was able to stay home with them for several years. So my son did kindergarten before we moved, and then she had to start working, but we were able to, anyway, that's the whole. I won't want to get into the weeds on my personal life yet, but she was able to stay home long enough with them
Yeah.
that we got through most of that pre before school time period so that our kids could then like she could when she went to work they were already going to school. Now
Yes.
obviously
Yeah.
it's not perfect because like you know work goes till 5 generally speaking and school doesn't, but
Yeah.
one of the reasons we moved to where we did is that we have family and my parents are able to help with some of those things, picking up kids, etc.
Hmm.
So, which is like community is obviously pretty freaking huge. So, I like to push back against the idea, and anytime people ask me about, my thoughts on starting kids and boys in school, like that's one of the biggest things I would bring up, even in an era in the 90s, the late 80s, early 90s, when I was a little kid going to school.
Hmm.
It was easier for me starting later to do school, and I think it's
Yeah.
just I think now it's even more so
Yeah.
that you just give them a little more time to mature, have more time at home, learn some more self-control, um, a stronger family bond too, I think, then also plays a big factor. So I think honestly for me that's got to be the number one thing. And I know that doesn't work for everybody and not everybody wants to do that, but I mean, we're pushing them to go and learn so much so young at a time that they're not ready, and all they want to do is have some fun before the sun
Yeah.
comes up. Sorry.
It's true though. And I mean, I I don't know if I would was technically held back cuz my birthday's in August. So, I was kind of right at the cutoff. They basically told my parents when I was in kindergarten if I wanted to go ahead, I could go ahead or I could do, cuz the pre-K really wasn't a thing in
Right.
91. So
No.
they said you can either do another year of kindergarten or you can go on to first grade. And they decided they wanted to hold me back
Smart.
1 year. And so when I graduated, I was 18. And, me and Anna talked about this pretty at length when we were trying to decide what to do with Lincoln, especially from a intelligence perspective, because it's like, okay, well, we want him to be in school because he's bored at home and
Yeah.
wants to learn. So we want him to be able to have the opportunity to learn. But we also don't want him graduating high school when he's 16 and he's not
Yeah.
ready for college, because that's something else that you got to have take into
Right.
consideration.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We take kids from like you have to ask permission to go to the bathroom to here's a big building that you're going to live in with other people
That
that
are
you've
also
never
just,
seen or met before.
yeah,
And often, there's the mixture of genders and what
yeah,
with hormones and everything. Like,
yeah,
just a couple months ago, you had to ask to go to the bathroom, and now it's like, well, don't be a fool. Wrap your tool, kid.
yeah, yeah. We're going to the honor system here. Wait,
Yeah,
what? No freedom to too much freedom is also a problem.
right. And yeah, that big jump makes it tough for I think a lot of people. If you had a little more maturity going into it, then that transition's a little easier. I mean, I still remember like I was 19 when I graduated from high school. Which now thinking about it, like I'm sure a lot of because I've been behind the desk on the other side
Uh-huh.
now, previously, and like you start looking kind of like this kid who's 19 his senior year. You're like, I'm watching you. Like, I've seen it where some of the older ones they're starting to like, I want to start picking somebody out,
Yeah.
to play house with, as we call it,
Yes.
being that much older, right? So some of
Right.
those things are starting to come into mind, starting to play a factor.
Yeah.
And I don't remember really being that serious about it, but I wonder, but the staff were keeping an eye on me, like, where's he going? What's he doing with so and so?
Yeah. Yeah. Not taking into consideration that the hormone thing and the testosterone thing
Yeah,
has already been sailing for 5 or 6 years at that
right,
point. Like,
right.
they're 19 now. They're definitely gonna want to get laid. What? Yeah, that
Been
didn't
wanting
happen
that
at
since I
13
was
or anything.
14.
Yeah, that didn't happen when my voice was doing this.
Well, that wasn't for lack of trying. It's
Yeah,
because my voice
exactly.
was
Yeah,
good.
the ladies just didn't think I was very serious.
I don't know why.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. You have a hard time getting dates and
You muted your mic. You muted your mic, Clint.
oh sorry. You
Quit,
get it's
quit touching the tip. You set it off.
yeah. I got to keep my hands away from the tip. It always goes off. Um,
Gosh.
but like it's difficult to have all the ladies fawning over you when you've got three little hairs that you're pretending are a mustache because you're a man now, and your
Right.
voice is you going like this in each
Yep.
sentence that you speak, and you're walking around with a perpetual erection because that's just the ages of 12 to 14 for pretty
Oh,
much
wait.
every man that's ever lived.
Is that supposed to stop after age like 18?
If it lasts more than 24 hours, call a doctor. Unless
Man,
you're
I
14.
should have called a doctor years ago.
Yeah.
Then I guess.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh man. Yeah, like
I
yeah.
had like a full beard goatee going on my senior year. Started
Yeah.
growing that puppy out.
Yeah, I was not one of those blessed with incredibly immaculate facial hair.
I'm not either.
Listen, your beard this is as thick as it would ever be on my face. So I could not shave for 6 months and it would not get any thicker than this.
Yikes.
That's the Native American Blackfoot Indian coming through. Not a lot of facial hair
Okay,
on that end.
Pocahontas. Okay,
Yeah,
Pocahontas.
yeah, exactly. But hey, I at least well,
What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? God made a few handsome men, and the rest he gave hair.
listen. If I could have no hair, I would make our facial profiles match because I hate having to deal with hair.
Dude, you don't have to. Just shave. That's the thing. Every man
You
has that
know,
option.
the reality is I don't have that option because Anna would hate it.
I thought my wife was gonna hate it the first time I did it, and then she was actually like, and then I just kept it, and
You
now
know,
when it grows back, she's like, ew.
the reality is in all honesty, I probably am going to be shaving it at some point in my life. I just looking at my family tree, there's not a lot of hair that makes it past 50. So best case scenario, I think I may have another 10 years of these gorgeous lush locks, and they're going to go the way of the
Moist.
dodo after that because as soon as it starts getting thin in any capacity up top, especially here, I'm gone. I'm not doing that.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Join
Ann and I have
us.
already had extensive conversations about that. I'm like, if it starts thinning, I'm not keeping it. As soon as
Join
it looks
us,
like I've got a
Clint.
comb over, it's gone.
Dude, don't just comb overs are so beta. Like
I know, that's what I'm
it's
saying.
so
As soon as
bad.
it even remotely looks
Yeah.
like I've got a comb over, it's so
It's
yeah.
I, I can't even like just I don't know, man.
But anyway,
Like
we
why
got a
would
little
you?
discombobulated with our topic,
You're right.
but yeah,
I'm sorry.
the reality is and then the reason I wanted to bring up this topic is because as a father, it is sometimes discouraging to watch my kids and especially my son because it seems like it's so much more there's so much more emphasis on how boys act versus how girls act that to have him be threatened with expulsion at 4 years old and be told essentially that his entire education path is going to be dictated because he's not quite able to control his emotions at that age is just
Yeah.
crazy to me.
Well, it is, and I think that I'm just going to go out on a limb and say you got a weird one there with that school. It seems to me that they're kind of off base with that.
Yeah,
I don't think.
which is probably not wrong.
Yeah, I think a lot of other schools would still have a little more long suffering. Would still want to work with your son. Like it seems a little ridiculous how
Yeah,
quickly they're willing to throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak.
right.
So either yeah, you got to find another school,
Oh no,
or
we've already
you know
moved
what?
on from that. We've got a couple
That's
other
good.
options that we're looking at. And in all honesty, like the main school that we want to send him to is actually a hybrid school. So they do 2 days in and then 3 days out. And the reason that we landed on something like that is because we want both of our kids to get the socialization aspect of school, but it seems to me that there is a shift happening in how education works, and that shift is, at least for me personally, it means that and this is part of the perks of being self-employed and things like that, that I want to be more directly involved in my kids' education. And so because I'm self-employed and have that opportunity, having them in a homeschool is not necessarily what we wanted to go, because obviously going to that extreme is going to eliminate a lot of socialization opportunities that they have. But
Right.
but there's still the option of doing this hybrid program where we get to be
It's a
directly involved
homeschool
in their
co-op or something.
pardon.
It's like a homeschool co-op of some sort.
So kind of it is there's I mean it's an actual school, but the way that the school is designed is essentially that they do 2 days in school. So they do, I think it's typically on Tuesdays and Thursdays, from essentially kindergarten through 6th grade, and then 7th grade through 12th they go to 3 days, and then the 3 days or the days that they have off are focused on extracurricular programs. So they have a lot of different programs that they can sign up for, that are some traditional and some non-traditional type programs for extracurricular activities. So like they have, they've got a basketball team and a football team and soccer and stuff like
Oh,
that. But
cool.
then they've also got like a cooking club, or like an engineering club, or kind of like I think a lot of cool schools call them like STEAM or something like that, where they like build Lego contraptions and stuff like that. But it's
You mean
basically
STEM, not Steam. STEM.
oh well, the one of the schools here is called they call it STEAM. So, but
They
anyway,
include art in there.
but yeah, but it was actually kind of interesting. So as we're going through all of the whatever the presentation that they did about the school, one of the clubs that they have is called it's either the Breakfast Club or the Cereal Club, something like that. And so that was like one of the biggest ones, and I was like, that's what is that? And the school had essentially basically made a rule that if there was a club that you wanted to start that didn't exist, then if you put together a like a presentation for the school board and you're able to make a case for it, you can do that. So there was like I think they were juniors that year. They decided that they wanted to have a cereal club in like first thing in the morning. So it starts at like 7:00 in the morning, and they get together and they like each kid brings, this is their day to bring cereal, and they would get together and eat cereal, and then they would do like a little, I think they would do like a Bible study. And the school board was like, yeah, we love this, and it's like their most popular program, which was pretty incredible. So I was like, okay, like that obviously that's a little bit off the wall from a what kind of a club it is, but they get together and they talk and they do some levels of research to try different cereals and stuff like that. And then obviously there's the positive aspects of student driven Bible study, which they're in charge of it completely themselves. And so as long as I think they have to have like a sponsor from either the school or from the parents that have to be present for it, because obviously these are still minors. But yeah, I mean, I was like, okay, like that's kind of a cool little concept. So they have a bunch of different stuff like that, chess club and golf club and all this other stuff. But yeah, just to kind of have a little bit of a variety in there. And so the way that the school is designed is it's focused more on, obviously they give you the time to get the social aspect of it because you're in school 2 to 3 days a week, but you're also getting access to being able to, take part in your kid's education as a parent, and you're getting access to benefits of some parts of homeschool education where, the reality is if your kid's able to get done with his schoolwork in 3 hours, let him get done in 3 hours and let him do what he wants the rest of the day. As long as they're as long as they're taking care of their responsibilities, then let them do what they need to do. And especially as somebody who runs their own business, that is a skill and a mindset that I think is invaluable, because if you stop and take a look at it, I don't want my children to just show up to work and sit there for 8 hours a day to run out the clock. I want them to be able to get what they wanted to accomplish done. And if that takes them 30 minutes in the morning and then they're done for the rest of the day, why should they be penalized for that? They've done what they needed to accomplish that day. And if it takes them 10 hours, okay, you know what? You're going to win some and you're going to lose some, and that's okay. That's part of having a job. So, anyway, but yeah, that's kind of the concept of the hybrid program. It's kind of like a homeschool co-op, but it's more structured than the ones that I've seen. So,
Nice.
yeah. So anyway, yeah, if you're if you're one of the parents who has a child that's getting threatened with expulsion in their second or third week of elementary school or kindergarten,
Gee,
You're not the only one out there. You know, it's there's
flipping ridiculous.
and just keep in mind that there are other options. So don't let yourself get too discouraged. Which I get it. It can be discouraging, especially when and a lot of parents out there are just trying to do right by their children, and
Sure.
it's very discouraging when in the process of trying to do right by your children that you're finding out that what you're trying to do is essentially being stopped from happening, and a door is being slammed in your face because of something that let's be honest, it's just unrealistic expectations. So yeah, that's our going deep segment for the week. Just
Went real deep.
yeah, from one father to another, or one parent to another. Don't let yourself get too discouraged. There are other opportunities out there, and
Yeah, absolutely.
you just have to take a step back and see what those other opportunities are.
Yep.
So it's kind of funny because as I'm talking through this, I was thinking about. I don't think we talked because we did talk about The Godfather last week, didn't we?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So I was eating lunch with Jordan the other day, Mr. Left Tool, and
What a tool.
what?
What?
What did you say? Wait, is it Right Tool? Did I screw that up again?
No, I just said what a tool.
Oh, what a tool. Okay. Yeah, Right Tool. Yeah. So I'm meeting with Jordan the other day, and we were talking about how movies in the late 90s and early 2000s, like, these old Disney Channel movies and stuff like that,
Gosh.
were priming us for things that were going to become normal in the world.
Ooh.
So I watched this movie with the kids over the weekend called Smart House. Do you remember that movie?
I don't think I've seen it, no.
Okay, so the premise of this movie, it's an old Disney Channel original movie. It came out in like 99 or something like that. So the premise of this movie is this kid he's about 13 years old. He has one younger sister who's about 9 or 10. Their mother passed away. I don't think it ever explicitly says what she got sick, but it doesn't explicitly say what she got sick from or anything like that. So this son, the kid's name's Ben. Ben has taken over the mothering role in this household. So he cooks and cleans and takes care of the house and does all this other stuff because he wants things to stay as close to what he defines as normal as possible. And from how I believe the mother has been dead for between 3 and 5 years. I think it's mentioned explicitly, and I can't remember exactly how long it had been, but it had been a while. So essentially, Ben hates the idea that his father could ever date again. And he's a younger guy. I mean, obviously, this is in early 2000s, so he's probably about our age with a 13-year-old. Probably late 30s, early 40s. So the movie starts off and Ben's taking care of the household. He picks up the phone and it's some girl that wants to talk to his dad, and he makes up some excuse and says he's taking a message and doesn't write it down and never gives it to his dad, and then his dad finds out about it later. And anyway, all that to be said, he finds out about this contest where the world's smartest electronic house is being developed. So it is a house that has the ability to cook and clean itself and order you food and give you the weather and display a basketball game on all of its walls, and if you don't want a basketball game, you can go on a safari in Africa, or you can go into the wilds of Antarctica or whatever. So he figures out some kind of system to basically just start filling out these electronic application cards, and he ends up being like 50% of the applications that were in this thing. And so anyway, they win the house. So they move into the house, and this house, it has mind-boggling and physics-defying levels of technology. So the little girl asks for a orange smoothie at one point, like an orange banana smoothie or something like that. Mm-hmm. And the countertop has a little island that sticks off, and in the island it has basically a dispenser where a little compartment will raise up, and it'll have your food or your snack or your lunch box for school or whatever in it, and that's what you take to school, or that's what you drink or eat or whatever. So she asks for an orange smoothie, and the whole system bugs out, and so this thing starts glitching, and the contraption's going up and down, and there's oranges that just start blasting all over the kitchen and living room and everything. And so obviously they're freaking out because the house has gone haywire, and they're getting attacked by killer oranges and all this other stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking, that is a enormous amount of oranges, because I counted, and I think there was like 50 or 60 oranges that came out from under this table. And I'm like, how are they getting that many oranges in the house? And did they just have all this stuff being stored somewhere? And
yeah, like, where's it coming in?
Yeah, so it was just comical from that.
Of the house.
Exactly. But what's even funnier is, like, as they're talking, the house like takes a prick from their finger of blood and does like a whole DNA analysis, and is able to tell like what their hobbies are and what their diet needs to be and all this other stuff. And every time they're talking around the house just responds. And I'm like, this was straight up Alexa in 2000, and Disney was just priming us for the technology that was bound to be in our household. Yeah. Telling, answering every question that we had, and turning on music for us, and playing music videos for us, and turning off the lights and turning on the lights. But the other piece that was so funny is the kids have this goofy house party with all the other 13-year-olds in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And his dad comes home, and there's a mess everywhere. Obviously, they're 13-year-olds. They make a mess when they're not trying to. And so the floor is, and the couches and everything are just covered in trash. And the house is like, don't worry, just dump it all on the floor. And I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. Which I've seen this before. And I'm like, okay, let's watch this whole thing unfold. Which I didn't realize it was as cheesy as it was. When I watched it when I was 12, it was like, oh man, this is the most amazing thing ever. And now watching it when I'm almost 40 is hilarious. So they dump all the junk and trash and everything else on the floor. And this floor has some kind of suction cup system that just pulls everything through the floor. It looks spotless. So it looks like there was never even a party in a matter of like 10 seconds. And I was like, sign me up for that. Because I would love to have a house that literally cleans itself in a matter of seconds. I mean, just everything, just through the ground. It was hilarious. Yeah. So I was like, well, if they primed us for Alexa, hopefully they're priming us for some kind of technology where the floors will suck up all the trash.
I mean, we do kind of have that already, actually.
Well, I mean, a Roomba's kind of close, but...
Well, actually, I was thinking about centralized vacuuming. You know, have you seen that in houses where there's like a little trap
Oh
door
yes, where
in
you
the
just took
wall
the
and you
hose.
just
Yes, yeah. No, I've seen those.
no, you
That's
can well you can do it where you just sweep it to it and then you open the gate and
yeah,
it just sucks everything you swept to it in.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, my mother-in-law and father-in-law have that.
Of course
It
they
doesn't
do.
do what diapers, but
Did you try?
I did not. But
Shame. Missed opportunity there.
yeah, yeah. But yeah. So anyway, it
Especially
was
with a
just
big fat stinky one.
yeah. No kidding. Yeah, you don't want that to get stuck in there. You got to tear apart your walls to get that fixed.
No, definitely don't want that one in your in-laws'
Yep.
house.
Well, I mean, dun dun dun.
Duh.
Oh man, but yeah,
And with that, okay.
yeah. No, we were watching that movie and I just could not stop laughing at how comical the whole premise of the show was, and this was all just basically a ploy by Ben to keep his father from ever dating. So yeah, I mean, and
Yeah,
he's a
typical.
professional computer hacker. He hacks into this house and
Yeah.
turns it into a mother. So like he makes it watch a bunch of old like 1950s, uh, you know, mother type TV shows. And so
Oh
that's the
gosh.
persona that it takes on, and then the house goes nuts
Yeah.
and tries to murder them all. And thinking back, it was a very dark Disney movie. Um, when your house goes nuts and tries to kill you,
Yeah.
to keep you from dating, yeah, things get a little weird. So if you ever get a chance to watch it, it's definitely worth a watch. It's pretty entertaining, but yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's the show for this week. So I feel like I didn't do as good of a job at presenting this week as I normally do, but I'm so all over the place with tax season stuff that I didn't have the normal level of prep time that I have for today. So hopefully next week will
Don't
be
worry about it.
a little bit better. But I do believe our
Yeah.
next topic is going to be diving into the specifics of the film The Big Short. So,
I have big shorts.
and how? Have you ever seen The Big Short?
I have not. I guess is that my homework now?
Yes, it is. If you get a chance to watch it, you need to. I don't know that
Okay.
it is available on any streaming platforms currently,
What?
but it is one of my favorite movies. It is about the 2008 financial crisis, and I believe
Oh, I get it
it's
now.
three different groups of individuals that make an enormous amount of money in the financial crisis because they saw it first. So, like, saw
I
what
saw
was
it
happening,
first.
what was going to happen first. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's going to be our topic for the next week. So swing back by and check it out, and hopefully we'll give you some insights into the specifics of what happened. And I'm working diligently to see if I can get a hold of any of the bigger names in this field, because I have 3 or 4 people that I've reached out to interview about the 2008 financial crisis,
Mm,
and I'm just waiting to hear back from a couple of them. So, yeah.
cool.
So, that's the end of the Clintorific Show featuring Dick, episode 17.
17.
And
Dang.
war. What is it good for?
Good for investing.
Investment opportunity. Say it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, yeah, today is another day. So,
Go out there and make it a great one.
Yeah.